Good afternoon.
Well, it's lovely to take delivery of a new car. I think a new car's always got a smell of fresh leather or whatever is inside.
What colour is different, isn't it?
It is slightly. It might be slightly darker than the last one. There's one or two things different, actually. The main thing is it's got the air conditioning, which is far superior to the ordinary heater.
I've always had a preference for English cars. I believe if you've got an English car, you'll have a much better service.
Here's your post, Mr. Hugh.
Oh, thanks, Teresa. When the car's delivered by the car company, the paperwork would be given to my secretary, which would include the invoice, and she would give this to the company secretary if it was correct. He would look at it and make out the appropriate check, send it to me to sign, and the deal would be settled. It's as simple as that.
Do you think this model is better than last year's model, Mr. Hugh?
Well, Peter, I think it's a bit smoother. All Jaguars are smooth cars. It gives a lovely smooth ride, obviously. I think I might even be able to go to sleep in the back on long journeys when you take me to a cricket match or something.
I wouldn't want to put the money out for a new one. I would go for one possibly 2 years old, and certainly from one of the Jaguar distributors. Very expensive car if it goes wrong, so you're better to buy a good one.
It's in beautiful condition, isn't it?
I always looked after it very well. And so the beauty about it, it is one that we know. Well, that's one of the best features of the Jaguar, is the ride, actually, compared with the competition.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing, it's exactly as what you said. If you drive a couple of 100 miles, you can get out and, you know, stretches of you're not cramped at all.
I like the automatic as well. It's relaxing. I don't want to work at driving.
No, well, that's another thing, you see. It's so smooth.
Yes, I noticed.
You've also got other features like the wooden face, you know, which is a trademark of Jaguar cars.
Beautiful.
The finish of the cars, you can see all the wood and everything like that gives that individual style, which, really and truthfully, there's nobody in the competition can match. Now, did you want to pay that by cheque or did you want any finance arrangements?
No, I like leasing because I have my own company and I can get the VAT back and I can write it all off against tax.
This particular car had been in there on 2 consecutive weeks, and I was watching the price of it. And the second week, it had come down a bit. And I thought, well, I'll phone up, go over and see it, and if it's suitable, perhaps we can do a deal.
Good evening. Could I speak to Mr. Taylor, please? Regarding the advert in the Watermart.
One or two odds and ends wanted doing, and I got him down £150.
I paid cash for the car. I offered them half what they wanted. I paid 300. They wanted 6, so I offered them 3, and they accepted, which I thought was great. Well, my father used to always drive Jaguars, you see. So he always liked, you know, looking out the window or whatever when he was young. It was great. So I always fancied driving one, you know, for myself.
We use the car for towing caravan. The overall length of the caravan is 21 foot, and it's a weighty van, so we need a substantial car to tow it. With the hills and that, you need something with a lot of power and a lot of go. The only drawback is the fuel.
I'm afraid a lot of one's life is reading representatives' reports, financial statements, trade press, and it helped me tremendously to have a chauffeur, to be able to sit in the back of the car and read these documents.
If I go down to Bath, Telford, London sometimes Oxford, or somewhere like that. That's what I use my car for. So I'm a motorway man, really, to get there quickly and get back quickly.
I mostly use my car on the weekends, in the evenings, really. Go somewhere like Stratford with me and a group of friends. You've got to find other things outside of work to keep you going and get so boring at work. You've got to have something to look forward to.
Drag racing, drag racing.
In the summer, I wear my tube top, and Eddie takes me to the dragster.
A lot of the executive people, particularly the Jaguars, come here because of the image. They like the cars to look really good. They know that they're not just going to get a quick 5-minute car wash. They are going to get an executive valet every month, and they know when their car comes out of here, it will come out in pristine condition. And it costs £350 plus the VAT.
I usually use a car wash when I want my car washed because I just don't have time to do anything else.
But I don't like to see a dirty vehicle because I think that if you've got a dirty vehicle, then it reflects on the owner. It's somewhat neglectful.
Occasionally when I go a bit wild I might wash it, but very seldom, I'm afraid to say. It always looks quite clean though, that's the funny thing about the car, I don't know why. But it's probably because I don't drive it enough.
The service is arranged with the Jaguar Centre in Wolverhampton on a certain date. Peter drives me in perhaps 8:30 in the morning, goes straight there to the garage. Whenever it's ready, Peter will inspect to make sure he's entirely happy with it and then bring it back to the works after that. I think he associates himself with the car and he likes to look after it. So to him it's something very special and it's his baby.
But it's a labour of love when you're working on your own vehicle. It's something you like doing. Time's nothing. With a tow bar, just the length of the car is just too long for the garage. I found that I couldn't close the doors of the garage, so I had to extend it and put a different fastener on so I could join the two doors together and put the lock on.
Wheels and tyres, £1,200 worth for a set of 5. And the stereo system, £2,250. There's around 14 coats actually on this before the top coat. It would cost in the region of £7,500. The interior trim costs around £4,000. When we first bought the car, it would be valued at the very most at £1,500 fire damaged. It's now had £27,500 spent on it to bring it up to this state.
Well, I must have seen hundreds of Jaguar advertisements in my life. I suppose because I've had Jaguars for 32 years, I tend to be interested in the advertisements. I really think it just associates Jaguar with power, with grace and space.
You see them advertising there with a nice young lady there, or whatever, a nice location.
To me, it's a sedate carriage.
Luxurious car.
They are a top people's car.
They've got to be aimed at the older age group. It's the only people that can afford them, really.
It was a glamour car, there's no doubt about it.
The Eagle comic, that and Dan Dare, I suppose. That's what made me a Jaguar fan.
The biggest impact on me was when they started advertised as a supercat, where it was leaping out of the post at you, like as if it meant business.
The Jaguar adverts are showing the cars as a top executive car.
Not the ultimate driving machine, but the ultimate.
Usually the adverts show you taking a nice, beautiful lady to dinner or something like that.
I have a fear that they're going to think he's a stuck-up, toffee-nosed bloke sitting at the back with a chauffeur in the front, whereas I hope that's not my lifestyle at all. I'm very proud of the fact that we've given employment to people for 188 years, and we are still family-owned and controlled. The idea of me being stuck in the back of a car with a chauffeur is really functional for me because I have work to do. I still communicate with people at all levels in our company. I know nearly everybody by their Christian name. My wife's had to have a spell in hospital. My daughter Rose has been very good coming home and looking after me and doing the cooking at weekends and that sort of thing.
Dad managed to write off the car the night that I was born by taking a bridge too soon and ending up, I think, in somebody's field and then leaving the car for a little while. But they both survived and got to the hospital in one piece. And when my brother was born 2 years later, the same happened. Different car, still a Jaguar, and that still survived too. And since then, he's always had a Jaguar, renewed them every year. Beautiful cars, good for a man's ego, I believe. But I've never actually driven one myself.
This is Brockton Court, where I live. It's a very old house. It was built in 1628, and it's set in about 20 acres of parkland. It's been my house since 1956, and it's a very lovely and happy family home. It's got a fascinating history to it because it's the original court for the monastery that was up the road before England had a judiciary system with magistrates and judges, and people were taken to the court to be tried, and they had either 1 ear or 2 ears cut off, depending what they'd done.
Well, I chose to work nights because it gives me more time during the day to do the things that I like doing, i.e. the cars, the garden and things in general.
I'm Sheila. I'm married to Colin. We've been married 27 years. Or is it 28? No, it's 28 this year. My hobby is gardening. I love growing things. And Colin's is the car.
She puts up with me with my Jaguar, then I'll put up with with the flowers. It's a compromise situation. When we first moved in, the garden was a long sloping garden. To be quite honest, it was a nothing. We then decided to make a big pond at the top. And for the pond itself, there's about 9 ton of concrete in that, which all had to be wheelbarrowed up a plank over the wall and then tipped in. When you see the finished results, you get a lot of job satisfaction. You say, well, the challenge was worth it in the end. A job well done.
I run for an athletics club. I run all for the year, doing the different seasons. I've always run all my life, really, because my father used to be a coach.
My old headmaster used to say guilt-free relaxation is very difficult for somebody who's a workaholic. I used to start at 7 in the morning and finish at 11 at night, which is dreadful, really, because I happen to love my wife and my kids. My ambition was to have a big bunch of keys, like my father always had.
I met David within this area. In fact, our courting and all our meetings were within a mile of our house where we are now. I was born and bred in Birmingham. When we were married, we moved back to Harborne. So this is really our sort of home patch.
David Manners. Oh, yes, hello, Peter. I'm buying a load of car keys. There's about 1 million. I want to know if you want to take part of it.
I cycle to work because it's cheaper, keeps me fit. But the job I'm on at the moment is welding. Obviously, if you're dependent on a car, you're going to have to get something that's more economical. I live with my mother. She thinks it's a nuisance, really, this car.
The first I knew was when he met me when we were coming home from holiday from Crete. And he arrived at the airport in this rather posh car, which was interesting. And it's a nice quality car. It's a supercar. Obviously, it's not very practical for him, as we found out halfway home, because we promptly ran out of petrol, and it's been like that ever since. He always seems to enjoy himself with them and gets a lot more fun out of them than lots of people do who run practical cars and lead fairly stodgy, dreary lives.
Well, my dream girl's, very attractive. Yeah, like a girl with blonde hair. Good figure. And doesn't mind buying a few drinks as well. Yeah, but at the moment I'm not actually going out with anybody. I go, like Dire Straits, Simple Minds, Phil Collins. Those are my favourites, really. But I like any different sorts of music.
You gradually drift into a little world of oblivion, into a little world of your own. I love Strauss waltzes.
My ideal is driving down to the south of France and maybe going down to Saint-Tropez or wherever it is. I don't suppose I'll ever get time to do it, but I do fancy that idea very strongly. Yes, I think that's my dream. She'd like to do that one day.
Situation is the Jaguar going down, say, Devon, Cornwall on tour and holiday. And the sheer freedom and to get away from regimentation, get away from conformity, that's the thing.
I've been an enthusiast for Jaguar cars since 1954. That's 32 years. I think they're a tremendous motor car. They're beautifully styled. And in the old days, the old original XK120, which was the first car I had, was just light years ahead of its time, like the Comet or Concorde or anything that's light years ahead.
It's comfortable, it's relaxing. It's very important to my business. I do a lot of driving, and if I drive to London or anywhere, I can drive, get there, get out, do my business, get back in, drive home, and it's wonderful. It's British, that's very important.
I think the Jaguar car is one of the nicest cars that has come from Britain. It always is lovely to look at, and I think a woman always likes a car that's nice to look at.
About 12 months ago, a club was formed, and it was called the Jaguar Enthusiast Club, which I think was a club for me.
I go to the clubs with him, the Jaguars Enthusiast Club, and I quite enjoy it. Sometimes I'm bored, but on the whole I enjoy it, and I like going to the rallies. Really, I think we share each other's hobby. You sort of, well, you do in marriage, don't you? You share everything.
When you drive, you can tell other people. You can tell other people are looking at you, thinking, how come this guy's driving a Jaguar, and we're not? I'm not the sort of I'm not the person they expect to be sitting behind the wheel, you know, obviously, because I'm young. But I definitely don't grudge putting petrol in it. You know, you certainly get to know the petrol station well, though.
See, the whole point of a Jag is you should be able to relax in luxury in a Jag. But in fact, what happens with us, we're always waiting for the thing to run out of petrol, so we can never relax, can we?
Well, I was very relaxed.
I know you were. You're the person that you never seem to pay for your petrol, do you? If I ever have a lift from you in the Jag, what happens? You've either got to have a can of petrol or you've got to have money.
No, that's not true.
Listen, when I came back from Crete, do you know what you said to me? I'm quite sure you said to me, have you got any Travers checks left, or have you got any English money?
I know, but it was a joke. I'm afraid your memory is terrible.
It wouldn't have been.
That was a joke.
How long did you keep that for?
Not very long, but it was the most super car.
If they do, unfortunately, come to halt, they rest. They don't break down.
That's
They
right.
rest. Yes.
I don't know. He'll probably be there if it's a millionaire skid row.
I thought you'd know where that was first.
A man's car, flattering to his ego, apparently.
Good way of getting off the beaten track.
Proper sporty car, then. Anything
Yes,
you want.
Yes, indeed.
Shooting, fishing, caravanning, anything you want. And we're on from Monte Carlo, then.
Monaco.
Monaco. Yeah. Open Jaguar?
Got to be.
Got to be. Oh, no, it was a car. And then Jaguars got there, they were...
As yourself, has actually got money tied up in the business.
And with something like with David with the cars, I find that he still thinks of it as a hobby.
Well, that was when both of you were born. When one was born, and it was the same hedge both times.
Was that an
Traumatic experience.
Same hedge.
Was that an XK150?
Yes, it was actually, yes.
Blimey.
My dream car.
Yes.
Dream car that was, yes. Oh.
Didn't do too much good on that occasion.
No, it's sand green. So it's like yellow.
Well, the one I think is got.
Oh, about 2 years.
How is the trail? Because it's got...